that, climate change directly affects the shelter that you're going to live in. It's a lot about the buildings, the flooding, the earthquakes. It's a lot about the buildings, and you need to start building resilient structures.
The two main culprits are cement and steel. So these two industries are very, very carbon heavy. They are manufactured using raw materials at high temperatures, and there are plants, situated all across the country. And so the embodied energy in making the material itself is quite high. And then to transport it from factory to the dealer to then to the site. A lot of thought these days are going into organic food. There is a shift to, say, organic clothes as well. But organic homes and the health impacts that it has is something that hasn't been studied sufficiently.
So when we look at traditional systems, one of the key elements that were very often used was natural materials like mud, stone, bamboo, etc. Usually when you work with construction materials, you start feeling sick because you need a mask, you need things to protect yourself because it's harmful for you. Whereas mud is the exact opposite. It's good for you. People buy clay and put it on their faces and things like that. So working with it is healing in itself. Trying to bring on more women masons onto the construction sites.
The workers from the village, they turned up here. The first day they were just, they were just women from the village and I was just a woman from the city, and there was that disconnect. But as we got to know each other and I started appreciating them for the knowledge they brought in, and they started appreciating me for, I don't know, I think my intention, I don't know, or we bonded. I genuinely care for them and I think they care for me.
ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಗಂಡಸರು ಮಾಡೋ ಕೆಲಸ, ಆದರೆ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೆಂಗಸರು ಮಾತ್ರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. ಇದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ? ಇದು
ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಗಂಡಸರು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್.
ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಮೇಸ್ತ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಎನ್ಸ್ಕೋತೀರಾ? ನೀವು ಮೇಸ್ತ್ರಿನ ಇವಾಗ?
ಮೇಡಮ್, ಇನ್ನು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮ್ಯಾಕ ಗಾರೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಅಂದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಮೇಸ್ತ್ರಿನೇ. ಇನ್ನು ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ತಾನೇ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಮೇಸ್ತ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಕರೆಯೋದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಮೇಸ್ತ್ರಿನೇ.
Yes.
It took me such a long time just to get them to understand that we don't want men on the side, because it's the concept that we're trying out. It's all women. We want to try this out to see if it works. They kept saying, oh, once we start the main construction, then we'll get the men here. So I told them, okay, we will start the work, and if there's any task that you cannot do, you come and tell me, I cannot do this, a man can do this and I can't, and we'll get a man on site. And they took that as a challenge.
I think the minute you start talking about issues related to gender, it automatically becomes like a you versus me kind of thing, which it really isn't. We're just saying that there are issues that we are feeling in the profession, and we need support to change that. Let's employ more women in our architecture firms. Let's have more women on construction sites. Let's look at their security aspects. Let's look at the issues that stop them from being around. I think we're clearly past that age where someone says, no to you in a certain way, but of course, there are cultural angles that come in, or social angles that come in, that there is a silent no that stops you. But the idea is to question that and to get more people to fight that with us.
My family on the outside are like very forward-thinking people, very modern Indians. I have a brother, so they believe in bringing both kids up with equal opportunities. But I wouldn't blame them. They are from a different generation, so they still have the very traditional ideas of the role of a woman. Having said that, my parents are like my biggest support. They've funded my entire education. They continue to support everything that I do, that Mason Singh does. They finally accepted that, I think, but they're still really worried that I'm a single woman at 35, unmarried and way past her expiry date. For architects, a lot is about who you're servicing and who your clients are. And we were really lucky to find someone like Thomas who was, had the same kind of frame of mind. It's always really lovely to come back here, as you can feel the vibe and the energy is very different. And it's almost as a philosophy, right? When you use materials that are kind, even the space kind of reflects that.
From a construction perspective, I would say that we have almost 100% stuck to sustainable practices. Two factors. One is lowest possible cost and lowest possible impact on our environment. If you look at the wood that we have used, all of them are recycled. I don't think a single tree was cut in the construction of this house.
We started our firm in 2013, so we were quite young into the profession, and I think it was a leap of faith from your end to go with two young girls who knew just about enough to build a house, I think.
Now we are a fully certified organic farm.
Lovely, okay.
Growing aromatic and medicinal plants.
It's interesting to know that both the global north and south have similar things that we can work on, which is not common understanding. People think that we're very different. And every year we have very clear goals on how to be more inclusive and how to bring the idea of cultural heritage and the importance of it in climate action to the forefront.
What is really exciting is that people more and more are seeing the importance of integration of culture, and not just looking at culture as an aesthetic overlay, rather kind of integrating that into policy and seeing that culture can definitely be used as a tool to mitigate climate change, and an effective tool to mitigate climate change.
It's tempting to say I'm going to get rid of my pain by going on a shopping spree. And I did it. It didn't help. We can shut ourselves off and harden ourselves, but there's a beauty to keeping it all open, and the earth inspires that. And I would definitely tell people to try it. It may sound challenging. Try it at some small level. You will see that it's healing, and take the plunge.
As women, people are not really expecting you to move mountains. So when you do move a mountain, it does create a buzz. So the fact that there's no expectation is great, and you can do what you want.
To all the women who are watching, no matter where you are, and no matter what your profession is, no matter if you're at home, I think in the whole view of climate action and being more responsible, I think the idea is to just each of us to do our own little part, to keep going. And I'd love to see more women here next time, and more women architects and more women everywhere. The future is female. He's still posing.
Yeah.
It's arguably the most important slave trade era monument in Badagry. The point of no return is a huge draw for tourists visiting the coastal town. Most of the enslaved Africans or Nigerians who were traded during the transatlantic slave trade era were loaded onto ships from this port and taken to different parts of the world. For many tourists, the point of no return has some spiritual connection, and that is why it's a must-see for any tourist visiting Badagry. But the place is in total shambles and looks completely abandoned. Locals say the Lagos state government began rebuilding the monument some 8 years ago, but never completed it. And now it's been abandoned. The whole structure is rotting away and collapsing. Virtually all the smaller structures around the point of no return have collapsed. There is no inscription or write-up anywhere around telling the story of this important historic site. All this in a state that prides itself as a tourist destination.
It's a crying shame that this place is left like this. So imagine if tourists were to come here. There's just nothing, absolutely nothing to tell the story of this place, nothing to show that this is the famous point of no return. It's just difficult to understand how we could abandon a monument as important as this in this manner.
It's quite very embarrassing looking at the way which the government, even though they've been advocating for tourism, on the need for us to invest in tourism, to encourage the citizens to participate and also encourage tourist activities. But the truth of the matter is that most of our tourist sites, they are not really strategically fine-tuned in a way to make it more attractive for tourists to come and spend time around. Well, I think this structure, it's more of like a white elephant project because it's a waste. Because you can see now it's dilapidated, and I don't think they are going to continue with the construction of this structure. And this structure, I believe before the commencement of this structure, they should have come up with their plans to see how it's going to benefit and enhance and boost tourism within this community. But maybe they did not do their groundwork very well, so they had to stop it in the long run. It really breaks my heart because this is millions of naira wasted that possibly could have been ventured into another aspect of the tourism. But this is just like millions wasted, and there's no way they can retrieve this lost funds. And people coming down here to catch fun, and they tend to feel discouraged and embarrassed by the sight of these, most especially foreign nationals coming there to come and relax, or maybe to come for their research purposes. They're going to see Nigeria as a country that we are not serious.
Yards away from the point of no return, another abandoned project by the Lagos state government. Locals say this was supposed to be a guest chalet started during the governorship of Babatunde Fashola, but long abandoned. Even this paved road leading to the point of no return has not been completed. Most part of it is yet to be paved. Even in its terrible state, tourists still flock to the point of no return, but they often leave disappointed.
When I was in secondary school then, we came for an excursion here, but the place we went to was 4-story building, and then we were not opportune to come here because they were like, okay, we can't come here since we were young then. But coming now, at least, that was 2014, and this is 2024, let me say that's 10 years ago. So coming here now, and I was like, okay, land of no return, let me come and let me see how it looks like. But on getting to this place, it's very disappointing because there is no evidence, that there is nothing to show that, okay, this is an evidence to show that this is a land of no return. And even this building, I'm just guessing that maybe that is where the colonial master stays then, where they select the slaves and all those things. But I don't know, because there is no one to tell us the history, and it's very disappointing that they just let it go. Like, let me say, it's a waste. Anybody can come here and claim it as anything.
If this monument continues to rot away like it is at the moment, then it's only a matter of time before the point of no return completely disappears from this very spot.
There are many sad and dark events in human history, but none devastated the African continent like slavery. To understand some of the plight those who were sold into slavery went through, one must visit Goree Island, their last point of departure from the African continent to the New World. Boarding the ferry to Goree Island. This is no slave ship, but it is no less built to capacity. But this time, with goods, tourists, traders, and for a hint of Noah's Ark.
Welcome back to the newsroom. These are the stories we're tracking at the moment. The incumbent Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukoyede Ariwoola, is to formally bow out as head of Nigeria's judiciary on Thursday, August 22nd, 2024. Ariwoola has been at the helm of affairs of the judiciary in the past 3 years when his predecessor, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad, suddenly resigned from office due to ill health. The traditional valedictory court session for the retiring Chief Justice of Nigeria has been scheduled to hold on Thursday, 22nd August 2024. And security agencies in Oyo State have begun a show of force ahead of the proposed August 1st nationwide protest as part of measures to maintain law and order across the state. The operation involved deployment of personnel from the Nigeria Police Force, the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Immigration Service, and other security agencies to strategic locations across the state. And critical stakeholders and residents of Katsina State, including market women, civil society, and interest groups, have dissociated themselves from the planned August 1st nationwide protest. Acting Governor of Katsina State, Farouk Jobe, announced this while briefing journalists after a meeting with civil society organizations, community leaders, with heads of security agencies, members of the State Executive Council, lawmakers, and chairmen of the 34 local government areas of the Katsina State at the Katsina Government House. After several weeks, the Nigerian Police Force and the Police Service Commission have reached an agreement on the final merit list for recruitable of police constables. Following extensive deliberations and collaborations, the NPF and PSC have worked to ensure that the recruitment process remains transparent, fair, and merit-based. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetukun expressed satisfaction with the outcome, adding that the agreement on the final merit list was a testament to the commitment of the Nigerian Police Force and the Police Service Commission to work together in the best interest of the country. And the federal government has announced plans to digitalize 80% of government activities by 2025 as part of President Bola Tinubu's administration's drive towards modernizing the country's public sector. The project aims to enhance efficiency, reduce corruption, improve transparency, and bring Nigeria's public sector in line with global best practices in e-governance. And on the foreign scene, the United Kingdom has been left shaken after 3 children were stabbed to death and 8 others were injured in a knife attack in Southport in one of the worst assaults against children in the country in decades. The attack took place at a Taylor Swift-themed event at a dance school in the seaside town in northwest England, sparking disbelief over why anyone would target children having fun during the summer holiday. And finally on sports, Enzo Fernandez has apologized to several French players in the Chelsea squad after being accused of unhabited racism by teammate Wesley Fofana. The 23-year-old Argentina international landed in Atlanta in the United States and addressed the video posted to the social media account after Argentina beat Colombia 1-0 in the Copa America final on 14th of July. And that's not the newsroom for today. Many thanks for watching. I'm Joy Uchejim. See you next time.
even though it is considered that we have a so-called disability, we really are able persons with different abilities.
For society and development to be included of persons with disabilities, we need to have equal access to education and to knowledge and information. Yet, out of millions of publications each year, fewer than 5% are made available in accessible formats for visually impaired persons. In developing countries, an even smaller percentage of publications are available in accessible formats. The Marrakesh Treaty, as it is called, will greatly expand the availability of artistic and literary works in accessible forms, such as Braille, large print text, and audiobooks. This can make a real difference in the lives of the world's more than 300 million visually impaired persons.
At the end of the day, we must come together and make however and where we are in the world be a place of unification, because me being blind visually doesn't mean that I have to be blind spiritually. And someone being sighted doesn't mean that they should be blind of those things in the world that we need to fix. We have to have inclusion.
Let us not become handicapped again, blind to the issues and the problems of those in need.
Well, I didn't know on time because I only knew that she found it difficult to read, and even when she started school, although I thought I was part of the reasons why she could not catch up with her mates, because I was actually I move around a lot. So when I moved, she has to change school. So I was thinking maybe that was the problem. But I actually found out later that even when I got her good teachers, the normal set of school teachers, I found out that she still finds it difficult. She's actually brilliant, very, very brilliant. But when it comes to book, she finds it difficult to read.
My name is Mrs. Uchenna Ahanotu, the director of Nene Special Education Center. I'm an educational psychologist, currently pursuing my doctorate degree in educational psychology from Imo State University. My dream had been always to help students to excel in their academics. So my dream had always been for gifted students. But then I now started coming across children with learning disabilities, and I found out that they were not getting the support they need. So I was helping them in my little way, one-on-one, until it now came to my doorpost. I got reports from the school that my daughter would be repeating class, primary 1. I was like, why? and they said she's not meeting up. This is a girl that is normally intelligent. You know she knows everything, but they said she couldn't read. So as an educational psychologist, I now had to go back to my books because I had packed my books. I went back to my books to study. I now found out that there is something called dyslexia, and not just dyslexia, there were other neurological disorders. There was autism, there was ADHD, there was all those cerebral palsy. All of them are linked together. So that was how I started focusing on children with learning disabilities. I was going from school to help them, but then 2 times a week, 2 hours a day is not enough. It wasn't giving us the results we wanted. So we now had to open the center, and I told the parents, if you want an intensive program for your child, you could enroll him or her here. When she has developed to a certain stage, she can now go back to mainstream school. That was how Learning Center started.
High five. A sound. B sound. C sound.
The thing is, when a child is not performing well in school, and you know you have tried all you can, you've given the necessary intervention, lesson teacher, good books and all that, and she's still performing low, I think it's time to diagnose her. As a psychologist, we diagnose, when a child comes to our center, we diagnose the child first to know the specific area of challenge. And that's why we're able to now diagnose, say this is dyslexia, this is dyscalculia, this is ADHD, this is autism. It can become comorbid with speech delay, whatever it is. So diagnosis is what we do first. When we diagnose, we can now draw up an education plan for the child. All our children have their own education plan because a child with dyslexia is not at the same pace with another child with dyslexia. So we do one-on-one therapy, we do one-on-one teaching for them, meeting them at their various points of need, and then they come up. So that's basically the strategy, identifying the specific disadvantage and then tackling it individually, not as a class. My staff and I, we go for professional training. We go for courses mainly online.
Okay, this is actually a timer. This is a timer we use for their section. So each section for a child, because of children with autism, most times they are diagnosed with ADHD, that's attention deficit hyperactive disorder. So it's difficult for you to treat them in a normal class and take a long time with them. So we time our sections with them. For each section for a child, we have 15 minutes. So I put on my timer for 15 minutes. So I know that at the end of 15 minutes, the child knows he's done. You see them standing up sometimes because they're like, just want to get up and leave. So it helps us to time them and get the best results.
Challenges. Well, sometimes I want them to, like, you're teaching the child something, no other child you can easily pick up, but you have to keep consistently going over it day by day and all, and it's like seeing as if you're not getting a result. Or when you're trying to keep kids with ADHD, getting them to sit still while you're teaching them, it's can be very, very tasking. And also, sometimes they just don't want to learn. It's sometimes like that.
She has improved a lot compared to what she was then, because she was having low self-esteem, and then, but here they kind of, brought our confidence up. Our confidence level is a lot high, and even if you are not careful, you won't even know that she has that condition again. So I'm actually happy with my experience with Nene Special Center.
Well, it's been quite encouraging. It's been good. It's been a lovely experience. Jaden, my son, couldn't do some things not until he started with the speech school. He couldn't feed himself, he couldn't identify letters, he couldn't identify numbers, but his hearing was perfectly well and he's still fine. He hears very, very well, but he couldn't identify some things. But right now, he can identify, he can make sounds, and the rest of them. So I'm impressed.
Before, she won't even try to pronounce, as in, if the word is difficult, she just jumps it to the next word. But now she's trying to, and then she has improved in her reading. She has improved in her self-esteem. She, I don't know, psychologically, she has improved.
We started last year, 2022, with the few students I had. So this year we plan to go more social media and then reach out to schools, primary schools in particular, to inform the headmistresses, the proprietors, that there is a diagnostic center where they can diagnose a child's learning challenge, because most of them are harbored in these schools, but the teachers are confused. They just think maybe the child doesn't want to read. So we want to tell them there's a center where they can diagnose the child's disability, and then we can also help them to tackle the challenge. So our aim is just the proprietors, and then through social media, we reach out to parents that are worried about their child's development.
I want to ask every parent that when you observe that kind of situation with your child, you should seek. Don't just assume, because some secular schools, they don't really look out for these conditions in children. They just assume that the child is poor or the child is dull. They don't have provision for that in most schools. So, and then such child will have low self-esteem, and it will look like they cannot do anything, or they look inferior to their peers.
Okay, clap for yourself, clap for yourself.
As I said, we started exactly May last year. So this is just 1 year, and we have had a total of 12 kids, about 12, 13 kids. And some of them are still on now.
Well, I must say it has been an amazing one. It has really been amazing. I get to meet wonderful kids every day. Yes, I see them and I'm like, God, these kids are just wonderful, because the world might not see them in that way, but meeting them every day has been like a blessing to me. Being able to interact with kids, it has been great.
My advice to parents that they should find out and keep a close eye on their child. Try to find out about their disabilities earlier in life, so that it will reduce the amount of time that we have to teach them.
Early detection matters. If your child is delaying, just come and find out if it's disorder or delay. We will tell you. If it's delay, we'll just tell you to go. With time, he will talk. But if it's disorder, you have to start immediately to intervene to help the child. Please find a good learning environment for your child. Find a center that understands their challenge and they'll be able to tackle their challenge with the right resources and with the right frame of mind. It's not a flogging issue. They need all the love and care they can get, and they also need the professional touch to get them out of where they are.
Hello guys, it's another wonderful day to be alive. And welcome to another exciting episode of your one and only favorite entertainment program, E360. Now, as you know it now, we discuss food, fashion, dance, just how you like it. And I remain your host, Chidi, truly with exciting topics all the way. Now, let's take a break. When we come back, I'll be revealing our important, very important personality.
Major Ayobamidele Michael, popularly known as King Major, born on March 15, 1989, is the visionary CEO of World Street Dance Entertainment. King Major, who hails from Osun State, has been a prominent dance artist since 2005. In 2023, he expanded his artistic pursuits into the music industry. With experience as a producer, video director, and editor since 2017, King Major combines creativity and technical expertise in his craft. He is also a passionate dance teacher committed to inspiring and mentoring future dance talents.
Welcome back. Now I'm honored to introduce to you Michael Major, the CEO of World Street Dance. What's up, Michael?
I'm fine, brother.
Yeah, that's what's up, my G. All right, now, Michael, let's go straight into it. Yeah, so I'm not going to start asking you when did you start dancing or all those kind of ones, because you've been dancing since your father thought that you wanted to give birth to a child.
Don't be like.
So okay, I'll just go to this. So, what does dancing mean to you?
Dance is everything. I can't express with words. I rather just express with my body. So for me to say it with my mouth, I would say that dance is everything. Everything I've ever done in my entire life. Eat, sleep, wake up, it's all dance. Think, imaginations, ideas, new ideas, it's just revolve around dance. So dance is everything for me.
All right, good. So tell us about your kind of dance, because I was going through your videos, and over time, your dance is unique. It's different. So I want you to tell us about your dance. What kind of dance do you do?
Okay, basically right now, my main dance style is krump, which is pronounced as K-R-U, or spelled as K-R-U-M-P. And it has a meaning, which is kingdom, radical, uplifting, mighty, praise. It was built by Chase, and it's a Christian dance, or coming from a Christian version of a dance, a spiritual dance. And then the dance itself is very, 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 we call it aggressive. People call it aggressive, but it's just like we expressing our aggression in front of a form of dance. Instead of me, getting angry with you, I just dance it out. Just like the way the meaning of dance is dreaming with your feet. That's expressing words with your body, which is called body language. So we changed it from or doing the wrong things, and instead infusing it into dance, expressing the full power or full energy, and expressing yourself through the song and to any other person who does not know how to dance at all. Also, krump can be very, very not that it can be it's very, very technical. It has its foundation, it has its training, it has its basics, and it has its pro.
Okay.
Basically, that is it. Then we are able to infuse, when it got to Nigeria, we're able to infuse into Nigerian songs. Simple.
Yeah, that infusion into Nigerian songs is unique because, I know dance is, like you've rightfully said, I know it has this aggression, like you stomping your feet and you're like giving this energy and like you like bringing out that bad or negative energy out and just blowing it out and centrally. So this infusion and all, how do you come up with your dance routines as a dance instructor, infusing our Afro rhythm and all into krump?
Okay, Afro at this age and time, or this Gen Z time, Afro is taking over the entire world. So we had to find a way to sell a market. Now, first of all, it was just about the market when we are trying to bring krump into Afro. So we're like, okay, it's like people do not really understand when we're using the main krump beats. So let's see how we can channel this energy into the Afro style. Since we have an energy, it's not just about the aggression, but also there's happiness, there is joy, there is, there's glorious, there's happiness in general. So we had to pick up a Nigerian beat or an Afro beat in general and then begin to do the style in it, yes, we are dancing, but also including the Nigerian style of dance. It's just a marketing strategy. We're able to enter into the market for people to like or understand the dance.
Okay.
The dance as a culture, yes, but also the dance as a mainframe, so that we can make money out of it.
Okay.
Basically.
All right. So you said something about, we're talking about infusion and
Yes.
all, and you said something about, to help Nigerians understand the crump culture
The
better,
crump
you have
culture
to
better.
infuse, the Afro, because Afro music has taken over the world.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think we're
Yes.
proud of that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think we're proud of that
Worldwide.
worldwide. So how has it been? How have Nigerians taken crump? What's your take since you started and all? How's it been with Nigerians?
So crump, from the beginning of crump by Chase, the crump is a dance that has come to take over, which means if anyone does not know, I would like to say that crump is all style of dance put in one.
Okay.
All style of dance put in one, and now has its own personal basics. So when you are done with the basics and you're good with it, then you can infuse every other style. When I say every other style, be it even the Afro, hip hop, b-boy, jazz, all other African style dance, salsa, any dance can go in crump.
Oh, okay.
The moment you are able to infuse it, then infuse the basics, you are good to go. So now, how are we able to create with it or make people understand crump? The body language that we are selling. So if I'm saying, if I'm dancing and I'm dancing to the beat, but also dancing to the lyrics, I'm able to interpret the lyrics with my move. Maybe maybe the lyrics hold a cup and drink. I'll obviously do that in form of crump, but crump will now have an extra energy to it that makes you see it clearly. Crump is like you seeing a clearer picture of someone who's just doing the dance casually.
Okay.
So we are applying more energy, meaning if you are doing 100, I'm doing 200. If you're doing 1,000, I'm doing 1 million. It just keep going higher and higher. So how do we make people see it exactly? It's just in the body. When you express it in the body, it shows naturally, even as a crumper, basically.
Oh, okay.
It shows. It doesn't hide at all, not for any
Obviously.
reason.
Obviously.
It's always obvious. Yeah,
it's really expressive.
Very, very expressive. So if you are going to do that style of dance, which is crump, you might not be able to crump up to 30 seconds for a start. But with training, you go 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Before you know, you're going 1 hour. Keep going again and again, then you become stronger.
All right. So let's take a breaker. When we come back, we'll be talking about Michael Major's music. Yes, he does music too. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, welcome back, guys. Now, in case you're just joining us, with me in the studio is Michael Major, an innovative dance director who I love how he infuses crump to our Naija vibe. It's one of a kind, Michael. It's really one of a kind. Now, let's talk about your music. So, you're into music as well, yeah? So tell me tell me about incorporating, singing music to your dance. Are we expecting to see a Chris Brown kind of thing, a Jason Derulo kind of thing? I don't know. How is it like, infusing your kind of song to your dance?
So first of all, I'll ask myself, what kind of song do I do?
Mm-hmm.
Or how I'm able to discover the song. Although I know how to sing, like normal, but I never took it to heart. And then I have experienced sleeping in a studio for about a year at Ebeda that very year. So we sleeping in the studio and they're always making beats. And from there I'll be like, I think I can do this. But the primary aim finally came up when, after like 4 years, or 5 years, I'll be like, instead of me downloading beats and dancing to people's song, I'd be like, okay, I think I could try and make my own beats. And then especially, the dance industry had gone through a phase, or it's still going through a phase, but it's about to get out of that phase, which is being acknowledged for doing a dance on any song. Dancers don't get acknowledgement. We'll get to that topic. So we are still working on that in the dance industry. So I got to discover like, okay, this is what I have to do. What can I do? Make my own beats. This is not just happening in Nigeria. It's happening in other countries for so long. People don't dance to people's beats anymore, or dance to artists' beats. They make their own beats and dance it. So Crump, especially, started its own beats. All Crump sounds, a crumper made it. So I'd be like, okay, let me try this. I made a Crump beat first. And I danced to it. I'd be like, okay, yeah, my friends danced to it. I'd be like, oh, okay, let me try voicing it. Okay, it worked. And then I'd be like, okay, since music wants to come into it, 2023, I picked it up. I said, okay, let me start doing normal dance beats. So normal hip-hop dance beats. I did b-boy beats. I did normal hip-hop beat. I did slow-mo beats. I did jazz beats. And I gave it to all my friends, my dance friends. They all danced to it and uploaded. I'd be like, okay, this is something that can... So how do I make it lucrative? I got into learning that, okay, I could get my music registered into this particular distributing company, which is DistroKid. So I'll be like, okay, oh yeah, now I paid for it, subscribed for a year, and then I started uploading the beats there. Then I'll be like, okay, let me try singing. And then I released my first track. And I'll be like, okay, so this, and I started saying, oh, okay, this thing is making money. Even if the money is not, it doesn't make sense to me. I'll be like, oh, this thing is actually...
It's a foundation, stepping stone.
Yeah, so I'll be like...
Roads, the other side, though.
The other side, though. What's the excess? Okay, then you mentioned Chris Brown. Chris Brown is my mentor.
Okay.
Musically.
All right.
Mentor. And the reason why I've now chosen him as a mentor, I'll be like, I checked his age. We're age mates. He's 35. I'll be like, he's 35. Just okay, he's 34 last year. That's 2023. I'll be like, look at this guy. We are age mates. He's still dancing. What's going on? And somebody's going to tell me to stop. No way. See, this guy that I'm looking at, as far as he's doing this and he's doing it well, then I can do the same thing. So what can I do? I started studying him all over again. I do like his song. I do dance the song way back. I'll be like, I think this person is the person I have to choose. I chose him as my mentor, and from there, I started picking up from there. So this time, I decided to release a song that will go with our people's vibe. And then I've released beats, dance beats that people are dancing to on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and all of that. So I decided to go ahead and take music to another level. If we're expecting something about that has to do with something close to Chris Brown, yes. But you know what the country is saying.
The countries. Well, let's say the country and the world is talking Afro.
The world is talking Afro, but now it's not even the dance or...
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yes, it's now the money for the production. It's quite on the... For me to say, okay, if I want to get my friends to dance, it's not a problem. If I want to shoot it, it's still not a problem. But now, will I shoot it and keep it in my house?
Yeah, you have to push it.
I have to push it, and that's the exam money to use to push it. So pushing it is just we are just praying together. Somebody should just see it, and then
buy into it
and buy into
just
it.
go. All right. So, what's it like before performing? I know you've been doing it over time, but what's it like before performing? Do you still feel any anxiety, or what's it like?
Before performing, I still feel anxiety. Trust me, I still, but not as much as I used to before performing. And the reason why is because some of us are battlers. As a dancer, if you're a battler or a crumper, or naturally a crumper is a battler. Even if you are dancing alone, you are battling. So imagine standing in front of somebody and battling. It's almost the same thing, even much more better. So when I get to the stage, it's just the wow factor is there already. But if I'm going to get anxious or be afraid, probably 20% just go off my body. I still have 80% to boost back again. Like for example, now I'm going to be going for my least. I won't call it my last. I'm going for my least dance competition, which is Red Bull dance on the 13th. So it will be my
on 13th of this month.
Yeah, 13th of this month. So it will be my least competition for now. That okay, this is what I want to use. I want to see how much I can put more energy to this and see the people that I can still whip, and then see how I can go. If this can help me get my music level upward, then we are good to go. But for me, dancing on stage, dancing anywhere, or even singing anywhere, I still feel the anxiety.
Just as a human, just that little bit of it that just
shake me small.
Just push and come out.
But after which,
one-way traffic.
Skyrocket, no time.
All right. So another thing, a very, very important question. It takes a whole lot of energy. Yes. So I would like to know: is there any diet plan, any exercise routine, routine program, or is there anything you do to keep yourself in check?
Okay, I train every morning. Aside from, let's be real here, let's be realistic here. We're going through a phase. We all have phases that we go through in life. So this is how I get to survive it. So I listen to quotes. Or let me go back. I think there's a 1 before that 2. There's an A before that B. The first thing I do is the night before the morning. I have a particular sound, a sleeping sound. I play that sound. It goes all quiet. It's a quiet sound, so it takes me till morning. I wake up with so much energy burnt out, or negative energy burnt out of my body sleeping. So as soon as I wake up, I open my Instagram. I go straight to my motivational speaking words. I just pick anyone and just put it on screen record it, and then it keeps playing. I go out, I walk out, I have my dumbbell at home, I train for as long as 2 hours maximum, probably train my arms or train my legs. Then after which I dance, go inside, shower, and
off for the day.
There are good days, but there are days I'll be like, today, not doing anything. But in the evening, I pick it up, just do. Then when it comes to dieting, just a lot of water. Then, we don't have any other food in Nigeria except rice. Starchy food. So if I must say, I've been able to get fruits once a day. I must eat one fruit. Whichever fruit it may be, I must eat one in a day. Then if I found out that it's like I can't train, or I probably didn't rehearse in the evening, I go straight to the basketball court. I play from 3 p.m. till 7, and then I come back home and I'm good.
Well, that's enough to keep you.
That's enough to keep you. So
I already know. So now this is kind of my next question is kind of a personal you thing. It's general, like dance and the industry, right? So what's your take on dance and industry? Earlier you were saying something about there not being, an opportunity to acknowledge dancers. I know, just like you have award shows that acknowledge actors, you have the ones that acknowledge comedians. So something like that. Is that what you meant? Okay, I just want you to tell me something. I don't put words into your mouth. I know you said something like that. So what's it with dance and the industry? What's your take on it?
So many of us are fighters in this dance industry. And, they say knowledge is power. What you don't know is actually greater than you. So how I wish I'd known some informations before now, And when I say before now, I mean before now, for me to discover that, okay, there's some leverage, some, what would I call it, some profits, some gains meant for the dance industry that is not getting to us. Now, what I'm about to say is going to trigger, if you're putting it out there, it's going to trigger a whole lot of, it's going to shake the table. Yeah, it's going to do a lot
Let's
of
do that table shaker.
Yeah, so it's going to shake a whole lot of table. I have not been able to do some findings, but with what we heard, the dance industry is not getting its leverage.
Okay.
The dance industry, the actors, the music, the dance and the acting, we are in the same line of industry. I want to remember the company that guides us, the association that guides all of us.
Okay.
So, which is associated to the government. Now, there's one I know which is GOND. It's called GOND. It's a guild something of dance. That's one that is associated to dance itself or art itself. There's someone who is heading it. There are people who are running it. And there's another association that seniors us. I know all those stories are still pretty shabby, but there's another association that seniors us. That's the one that is overtaking every art. And a certain, what will I call it, leverage or a certain instruction or structure has been made to help the dance industry grow. Now, which includes what dancers should be paid, how dancers should work, our work schedule, which includes our, tax. We are not paying tax now. That's why all about this is, we don't even know how we are paying tax. So somebody is somewhere taking this leverage or taking these bills off the dance, and then some dancers might know, some OG dancers might know. So we have actually come together to form an association that we are going to work with this GOND and then know what is going on. So we are not getting anything. Coming to talk about the big shots, they know that dancers are meant to be paid this amount, so I'll say this. But the job keeps going from one hand to one hand. Meaning there's a CEO, there's a manager, there's this, that. Before you know, if the money was supposed to be 100K originally, the money will come to the dancer as probably 20K. Lots of people have. So we have people who have slashed this whole thing, they finished the money. So that's what we are facing, and then that's the challenge basically. And we have come together to find solutions. So hopefully we pray that this solution works and then it paves way for every single dancer we have in Nigeria especially.
All right, one last question. What should we be expecting from you?
All right, King Major is coming with fire. Musically and dance, we're coming with fire. And we're not coming in small. We want to come in big. And I'm saying we, why? Because I can't do it alone. Yeah. We have a team, so we're going to be working a lot of work out there. Dance-wise, musically, we're going to be putting both to work as one. I have a particular track that is coming up, which is a very strong project. I've actually done the track for like 6 months, but I've not been able to do it because I'm afraid of the project's bill. So I'll be like, I think I should just do this once and for all. So I've summoned courage, gathering up enough funds, meeting people, and be like, okay, let's get this done. And I'm sure if we do it, we are expecting a Wakanda and a Woman King type of dance movie.
Interesting. Anticipating. I love that. I love to see that. I really love to see that. All right. All right, guys. Let's go on a break. In that break, we'll be seeing King Major sing one of his songs. Enjoy. We'll be right back.
I just stay my life. I don't care your time, but I stay on that. Everybody turn up right now. If you don't be my guy, if you don't cross the line, but I stay on that. I just stay my life. I don't care your time, but I stay on that. No relay, if you don't be my guy, if you don't cross the line, and I stay on that. Ladies and gentlemen, call me I'm King General, you know the vibe. Go walk back, go good. I come on good. We outside, we outside, we outside, we outside. Give us the vibe. King Major. King Major.
Welcome back, guys. I'm sure you enjoyed that. So before we go, now in our usual style is we play a game, right? Yeah, I got you right.
Heartbreak.
All right, we play a game, but see, it's nothing that'll get you off your seat. Don't worry. I'll just ask you a few questions.
Okay.
You just answer, punch. You know,
Okay.
just round questions. Okay. So we'll start with your favorite food.
Moi and Eko.
Your full name.
Major Ayobamidele Michael.
Your favorite football club.
I'm not a football fan, but if I would choose, I'll go for Barcelona.
Your favorite sport.
Basketball.
Your favorite NBA team.
Okay. Boston.
All right then. Amala or fufu.
Fufu. Even if as a Yoruba man, I don't like amala. I'll go for fufu.
Okay, champagne, brandy, whiskey, water.
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 All day, water.
All right, tell me your favorite indoor sports.
Indoor sports. We have to categorize that indoor sports. Dancing is also indoor sports, so I choose dancing.
Favorite dancer?
Worldwide. Me.
Interesting. Interesting. I like that. So tell me something off your bucket list, something you like to do before, you know. Two.
Where did I write that thing?
Listen, how did you write it?
It's plenty. I'll just pick. Okay, I'll just give me 2
Your
seconds.
time, you know.
Yeah. I'm sure. Okay. First one is something I would like to do. Something I would like to do is I would like to be on stage with Chris Brown.
Okay. Another one.
Most featured artist worldwide. I want to have a feature with all the artists. It's part. I think this list
It's
is
number one.
it was today's list. When I was coming for this interview, it was today's list that maybe it just came into my head that I have a dream. This is what I want to do. I want to feature all the artists, no matter how crazy they are.
Okay, interesting. All right, guys, it's been nice having King Major with me in the studio. It's been interesting. He's a dancer. He does crump. Crump is Anyways, all right then. Till next time, stay jiggy.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
When you go into public office, you must be ready to answer to the people.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians are saying in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
There are many sad and dark events in human history, but none devastated the African continent like slavery. To understand some of the plight those who were sold into slavery went through, one must visit Goree Island, their last point of departure from the African continent to the New World. Boarding the ferry to Goree Island. This is no slave ship, but it is no less built to capacity. But this time, with goods, tourists, traders, and for a hint of Noah's Ark, some animals, even though there are not two of each kind. Slavery ended more than 153 years ago. One can't help but feel sadness just walking the streets, trying to imagine what went through the minds of these citizens of various countries as they were hauled, sold, and shipped to a strange new world. Where did these slaves come from?
At that time, each African ethnic group had its price. And the most expensive ethnic group used to be the Yoruba. Yeah, they were from Nigeria. Because those Yoruba were very strong and tall. And they worked very hard in the plantations. That's why they were more expensive. They took those kids for two reasons. First, because in the plantations in America, there were some special jobs, typically for the kids, and they did them very well. And then because of most of those kids were from the parents very strong, because they thought that when they will grow up, they will be strong like their parents. That's why they took them. In all the 28 slave houses in Goree Island, the slave masters have the right to sleep with the young girls. Once a young girl was pregnant, she became free here in Goree Island or in Saint Louis in northern Senegal. But she wasn't totally free because usually she worked as domestic slave in the European houses, you know. That's why some of the young girls found a kind of interest to be pregnant from white masters so they can be free. At that time, the price of a man was up to his weight and his muscles. So the minimum weight for men was 60 kilos. Those who have less than 60 kilos, they put them in this special cell just in order to fatten them up. Let me tell you that they did not buy slaves with money. It was exchange. You know? For example, to buy a man up to 60 kilos or a virgin girl, you could give a gun or a barrel of wine or a blanket or something like that. To buy a child, you could give a mirror or a necklace or a piece of tobacco or something like that. So that's why people used to say that Africans also were involved into the slave trade, because some of the African tribal chiefs were collaborating with the Europeans.
Yeah.
And here, this is a punishment room for rebels. Those who fought against their masters, they put them inside to punish them. As you can see, they could not stand up inside because of the hooks. 4 or 5 people at the same time in this small room. In 1991, we welcome in this house Nelson Mandela. And when Mandela came inside, he stayed in for about 5 minutes. But when he came out, Mandela was crying. Right and left you have the waiting rooms. The slave used to wait here before the shipment. At the famous door of no return. Because once the slave got out from this door, it's mean bye-bye Africa. They took them to America and they never come back. Because of the rocks, the boat could not come near. That's why from this door, they built a kind of palm wooden bridge as a wharf. But during every shipment, some of them tried to escape by jumping into water, but they never could go far because either they were killed by the security guards or they were eaten by the sharks. Why the sharks? Because at the time, in all the 28 slave houses in Gorée Island, once a slave got sick, just to avoid the epidemics, they threw him into water and that attracted the sharks. That's why there were a lot of sharks around the island. Let me tell you that slavery lasted in Gorée Island from 1536 to 1848, more than 300 years. And during that time, there were about 15 to 20 million slaves coming from all over the African western coast. They transit through Gorée Island to America, and 6 million of them died because of bad treatment. 6 million. Very emotional, but he knows it's very, in a high level, the history and the relationships between Africa and other countries, and also he knows exactly what's happened between the 16th until 19th. I'm talking about the slavery and the Atlantic slave trade.
Walking away from the island, there are some pretty paintings on the street walls. One must ask, what have these walls seen, or what cries have they heard over the last 300 years? Somehow, I don't want the real answers to that question. Maybe you do.
Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Simisola Atiku. Well, labor unions in the country say they will schedule meetings with state governments as part of efforts to ensure that they comply with the 2024 National Minimum Wage Amendment Act bill, which on Tuesday empowered Nigerian workers to earn at least 70,000 naira on a monthly basis. On Tuesday, the Senate at plenary passed the 2024 National Minimum Wage Amendment Act bill after President Bola Tinubu had transmitted the new wage bill to both chambers of the National Assembly, seeking expeditious support of the lawmakers for its passage. While leading a debate on the bill, the majority leader of the Senate, Okoyemi Bamidele, said 70,000 naira was agreed upon by all the parties after negotiations, while the chief whip of the Senate, Tahir Monguno, said there was the need to review the minimum wage to align with economic realities. That's a part of the resolutions made at plenary.
The National Minimum Wage Bill, which saw swift progression through its first, second, and third readings shortly after being transmitted by President Tinubu, was promptly passed by upper chamber. Senate leader Okoyemi Bamidele led the debate on the bill, highlighting that 70,000 naira figure was reached through negotiations involving all relevant parties.
In response to the agitations and after a series of negotiations between the federal government and the organized labor, the current national minimum wage of 30,000 naira only has been reviewed upward to the sum of 70,000 naira only. This is part of the federal government's short-term measures to mitigate the situation in the country, as efforts are being made to bring about long-term solutions that would align with the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians and bring succor to the country generally.
The chief whip, Tahir Monguno, emphasized the necessity of updating the minimum wage to reflect current economic conditions.
The minimum wage from 30,000 to 70,000 is equally very germane and apt, especially against the backdrop of the effect of the removal of subsidy, which has brought about a corresponding increase in the prices of goods and services. So there is a need to review the minimum wage to bring it in tandem with realities that is prevalent in the society. So I support the second reading of this bill against the background of the arguments that I've made.
The bill received unanimous approval after a clause-by-clause consideration in the Committee of the Whole, marking its successful third reading and passage.
A bill for an act to amend the National Minimum Wage Act 2019 and to increase the national minimum wage and reduce the time for periodic review of the national minimum wage from 5 years to 3 years and for related matters 2024. Third reading. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the National Minimum Wage Act 2019 to increase the national minimum wage from 30,000 to 70,000 and to reduce the time for periodic review of the national minimum wage from 5 years to 3 years and for related matters 2024. Third reading taken and passed.
The transmission of the wage bill came about 6 weeks after the president announced in his Democracy Day speech on June 12, 2024, that an executive bill on the new national minimum wage for workers will be sent to the National Assembly for passage. Additionally, the period for reviewing the minimum wage has been shortened from 5 years to 3 years. For Lashade Olusegun, reporting for TV360 Abuja.
And the new bill replaces the National Minimum Wage Act No. 8, 2019, which approved 30,000 naira minimum wage with 5 years to negotiate a new wage. The review period has now been reduced to 3 years following Tuesday's legislation. The last minimum wage review was done in 2018. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have an economic development expert discuss this with further. Just stay with us.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true?
See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the go-to app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other Paper Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Corruption not in my country.
Hello. Alahaji. Right now I'm in Abuja. No. Hello? Adamu. Right now I'm in Kano. Yes. When I get back, I will just call you. Look, what is wrong with you? I'm talking on the phone and you are gesticulating and doing. What's wrong with you?
Daddy, where exactly are we as we speak?
Are you alright? This is Lagos.
Well, you just lied to someone that we're in Abuja.
Keep quiet. Who told you can tell an elderly person is lying?
Daddy, you just lied. And by lying, you are raising corrupt children for the future of Nigeria. That is corruption, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Well, let's discuss this further. I'm now joined by economic development expert Ogbonna Okuku. Thank you for sparing time, Mr. Okuku. Now, you followed this whole process when negotiations began, from labor unions insisting on 250,000 naira and government offering 62,000 naira. Now, the agreed sum of 70,000 naira has been signed into law. Is this a fair deal, after all this time?
Now, so salary negotiations usually, or minimum wage negotiations, is usually something that has to a lot has to go into consideration. You have to look at the socio-economic dynamics within the economy where you are, that you are in, and then you have to also look at the macroeconomic situation of the country, looking at inflation, looking at, yes, we want to look at the standard of living of workers in the economy, but you need to also look at the sustainability. How sustainable would that increase in salary or the disposable income that comes into the hands of workers? How would that affect the general economy of the country? So now, looking at it, from what the labor union wanted and what the government has said they will be able to pay, I think is a fair conversation. Looking at the entire ecosystem. So, I would have wanted our workers to earn more, but with this present reality, there are certain things you can't do.
Now, like you rightly said, there's still the challenge of state governors who had lamented that the inability to afford the federal government's initial 62,000 naira offer. And how challenging do you think this new agreement of 70,000 naira will be for the state governments?
Now, the state government, yes, with the removal of subsidy, part of the things that actually, hit that put a lot of inflationary pressure on the economy, made their revenue to increase. Yes, but on the other hand, the entire income that they are getting now, which is higher, is also being eroded by the inflation that's hitting the economy. But I think what the issue should be is, what are they going to do differently when it comes to prioritizing fiscal sustainability, plans for each state? So, because whether we like it or not, the states must be productive, because for now, the local government they are all earning money, so there has to be that plan. There has to be there has to be a growth plan which has to be sustainable. There has to be that progression. So prioritizing, how to their spending, prioritizing what to invest in, and then also knowing whether they have to cut down on the strategy of using employment as as a political tool to settle political differences and all of that. So you can't just get an overbloated workforce that are not productive. So I think they need to think deeper, and then so they use the time of finalizing, having that law being domesticated in the state to find what to do to actually increase their revenue as state, and also having at the back of their mind that the private sector that play in the states should not be taxed for that. But I think there's a lot of leakages in the system. So if they're able to close up leakages as far as revenue is concerned, as at the state has internally generated revenue, and making sure that the monies that belong to the people is spent on the people, I think they will be able to cope eventually. It might just be difficult at the initial stage, but after a while, if with critical thinking and planning, they should be able to do better going forward.
Right. So this 70,000 naira approval has attracted mixed reactions from both the organized private sector and citizens generally, with concerns raised on how realistic and sustainable this amount will be eventually, especially as this agreement is coming at a very tough time in the country, like you rightly observed. Now, do you get any impression that it will be difficult to implement?
Yeah, like I said, for the states, it was going to be some of the states, not all the states. There are some states that have more revenue, that have more money than the others. But that's to say that everybody, as far as you have, some lifelines or some liquidity coming into your state, you should be able to plan. So, like I said earlier, it's going to be a bit difficult for some states to start to implement, because if you look at the trend from 2000 and the last minimum wage increase, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago. So some states were not even able to implement, but some states actually implemented and did above other states. So we need to actually look at those corridors and see what could be done better. What are we going to do better to make sure that those states become sustainable? Because, policies of government is everything. How you're able to support the local industries, how you're able to become productive, how you're able to spend money on the right things, and then, support citizenry, support your local citizenry is actually very crucial. It's going to be difficult at the earlier stage, but going forward with time, planning, I keep using the word planning. If you plan, they'll definitely come out of it.
Right. So labor unions in the country say they will work with state government as part of efforts to ensure that they comply with the 2024 National Minimum Wage Amendment Act bill. Do you think that this will in any way be effective?
Now, this would have been, I thought that the labor union would have done it the other way around. But nevertheless, if they want to start now to begin to negotiate, to work with the state governors, so that means they would have to look at the books and see what's realistic, what's workable, because whether we like it or not, the social economic situation in states all differ. And then again, the government of each of these states should look at those fiscal policies that will also help the states to be able to meet the need. So the worker and the government, they need to see that that we're all working towards productivity, because it is the productive sector of every economy that would give birth to that liquidity that every state needs to be able to support the worker, increase the wage of every worker, and make life a lot better for workers. Because this adjustment, like I always say, is it has to look at the present economic realities, and then the states being able to prioritize, and then look at the fiscal stability as far as that state is concerned.
Right. So Now, the last time the minimum wage review happened was in 2018, and now this new bill says, or rather offers that the review will be done every 3 years, reducing from the initial 5 years. Now, do you think that this reduction is a good one, or do you think it should have just stuck to the original 5-year review?
No, 5 or 10, whether we like it or not, just like you have so the sensitivity or the volatility of the economy actually requires that you review every year. But review does not mean you must increase every year. It's also the fact that you need to look at some critical sectors of the economy and then find areas where we are not doing well and then see how we can improve on those areas. So most of the time, review for me is not just about the income that is going to come to the workforce, but also to see what the workforce have been able to give to the society. Because I say it all the time, the only thing that have been constant in Nigeria is the workforce. We've had different political parties, we've had the military, but the only thing that has been constant is the workforce. So there must be something about the workforce that we need to rejig or to look at to see why things are not working the way they ought to work. Because whether you like it or not, it was not any political party that ran the refineries down. It was actually the workforce that ran it down. So whether we had political leadership in any of those organizations, I'm waiting for a day where they will say there's going to be a nationwide strike in Nigeria because officers wanted to do the right thing, or the workforce of the nation wanted to do the right thing, and then the political class said, no, don't do the right thing. I'm waiting for that day where that kind of labor action will take place, premised on bringing value, the value proposition that the workforce of that nation is actually, are planning to, or what they want to do, and then there's been this hindrance because the political leadership does not want to give them the room or the opportunity to deliver good governance to the people.
Well, let's talk about this strike action that you mentioned, because there's this plan to hold a protest. It's already gaining traction on social media where people want to come out, speak against bad governance and all of that. Let's talk about the economic impact, the impact this will have on the country. Do you think that this will make a difference, from initial protests that have been staged in the past?
And our protest is a legitimate action taken by citizenry to actually address certain issues. But it's just that I always say that you need to look at where you are, look at the climb where you are functioning, and see, have we been able to get achievable results from protests? No, we haven't been able to. So protest for me is just going to make a lot of people lose in their businesses, and it's just going to affect the economy further. Because where we are at this point, what we should be thinking of is, I think the protest should be, we need to redesign the style of our protest. We should be able to, ask specific questions to certain organs of government, so we don't just make noise. So at the point, protest sometimes becomes noise when it's not well structured and directed. Let's say, for example, we say, okay, we want to protest against, food inflation. Okay, so what are the factors? So there has to be leadership, those who provide leadership and say, okay, let's give direction. The problem we're having is that the infrastructure ABC is a problem. Raw material strategy ABC is the problem. So even at the end of the day, so you don't see people on the street and then you ask them, why are we protesting? They say, we are angry. Senators are earning more money. This one will be. So there has to be that convergence of, we should be able to articulate what the issues are. So, but at this point in time in our nation, that's not what we need. We need to be able to distill what the issues are and then find how to target our anger, see what we are, that citizens are not doing right. Are there things we too are not doing right? Because they say when you point one finger at the next person, 4 fingers are pointing at you. So it is not the right time for any protest, because whether the energy that it comes with, and then we can't guarantee control as the way the country is structured. because the people will just vent different things. And I don't think we're mature enough to get a positive result from protests as far as this country is concerned.
Right. So finally, what's your take on the decision of lawmakers at the lower parliament to slash their salaries by 50% in a bid to support the government's efforts to address rising cost of foodstuffs in the country with the view to ameliorate the hardship Nigerians are going through? Is it in any way relevant? Are you convinced that this move will help at all?
So when the Deputy Speaker House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Okeze-Kalu, stood up on the floor of the House, to move that, to move the motion on the floor of the House, for me, it was a good step. It's just a good show of, we want to show we are concerned. I saw it as, let's show Nigerians that we are concerned. And I also saw the fact that a lot of other lawmakers were happy, they were all willing to do that, because whether we like it or not, they too have their own issues. So when you say they are earning this amount of money, the real thing is, if you're able to look at it critically, you find out that there are people that depend on them, especially their constituents, are a lot. Because they are out there, and then people are looking at them, oh, you guys are doing so well. That's how the pressures are on them, because they know they have to win the next election. So they have to always, be in touch with their people who are the local areas, especially those who represent certain constituents that are, that are in some, rural areas. So it's a lot of work, and I believe that was a good show of leadership by the National Assembly to cut their salaries for 6 months. I know it's going to bite on some of them, because they also have bills, they also have mouths to feed and all of that. So it's beyond them. So it's also about their constituents who keep reaching out to them, because as the issues bite hard on every Nigerian, their constituents that have access to them will reach out to them to make sure that their issues are sorted by them, because some of them don't even know the difference between a state governor and a lawmaker, or those in the executive or those in the judiciary. They just know that you are in government, so solve my problem. So that's how I'll see it. I think it's a good thing, and I believe that more people in political leadership should follow that example, and then also make sacrifices so that people would come out of this whole quagmire, because it's a lot of pain on people in Nigeria right now.
Wow. Well, time will tell how workable this new Minimum Wage Bill Act will be in the long run. Economic development expert Ogbonna Okuko, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. That's how much you can take on this episode of the program. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next time. Bye for now.
Good day and welcome to your favorite sport program on TV, 360 Sport. It's been a wonderful moment with all our viewers across the globe for always keeping in touch with 360 Sport, and we talk about all the trending sport in the global sporting fraternity. I'm Mudashiru Shitu. So we'll be looking at the Olympics, as we know that this is the month of the Olympics where the world is gathering together to get the best of the best when it comes to Olympics. The medals to be won, the records to be broken, the dreams to be achieved. There are a lot of things to be done at the Olympics, between who is going to stand on the podium in each of the sports. But there's so much about the Olympics. And now I will be talking with Dr. Martin Morgan, who is an African sports consultant on the Olympics. And this is with a little focus on Team Nigeria at the 2024 Paris Olympic. It's good to have you on the show, Dr. Morgan. So let's go straight to the first question of the day. What's your expectation from Team Nigeria at the Paris 2024 Olympics? What do you expect from the old team?
Our expectation is high because we've been following it up for a very long time. The preparation has been top notch. And despite the fact that you have about 6 or 7 new entrants into rookies, I'm recording rookies into the team Nigeria, there's that belief that, yes, our guys will be able to do well. And today we're supposed to have the Falcon playing. So for me, as at this moment in time, I am very optimistic about Team Nigeria. I think there's no cause for alarm. No cause for alarm. All the allowances and the payment and the campsite have been well prepared. The teams are already in Paris. The Falcon arrived to Toulouse about 2 days ago, and the teams already in Team Nigeria is already in Paris. And we are trying to work out and see what will be the next thing to be done. So the expectations are high, and we just have to go with it.
Dr. Morgan, what sports should we be expecting medals? What sport? I mean, the Nigerians is participating about 38 sports, but what sport should we be expecting medals?
For me, I keep on saying that I have my hope on the 4x4, the relay team for women. I have a very high expectation. I also have a little bit of expectation also on wrestling. On the tennis. Then wrestling used to be also one of our strongholds. In that 4 area, I'm thinking about that. Then we have the hurdles. We are also thinking the track and field. The star girl of the moment, that is where the expectation is. But though her last event, she came in second. But I think she just reserving herself to avoid being burnt out before the Olympic proper. I think that is just what is happening.
Now to the trending story report on Toby being appointed as the flag bearer of Team Nigeria. That means we also know that Anolu Akpo is the team captain. What does this mean? Are they the right? I mean, they're right, but is this a good decision by the sport ministry?
Some time ago, early the week, I think our star girl should also be a flag bearer. Then we will have another person who can join. Initially, I was thinking about Aruna, the tennis guy, but unfortunately, he went to the other side. So for me, I think at this moment, there's nothing we can do about that. It's not bearing the flag of the team captain. What happened, let's go to the event and showcase the best you can. I think they got the best they could. And for us, it's just for us to get the results.
There's not been so much issue about differences in bonuses, the camp allowances, what are to be paid and what are not to be paid. There have not been so much issues on that. But what's the target? Let me use the target for that state, for that war, for the very fact that what should this athlete be expecting if they win gold, win silver, or win bronze medal?
I think so far this is one of the best Olympics year we had, where there's no rumor. I think about, if I'm not mistaken, 12 billion or whatever was earmarked for this team. If I'm not mistaken, but I check my record. But then the bottom line here is that there's no crisis about allowances. There's no crisis even in their playing tour and the rest in their own various locations. All those things have been set out and they have been given. So I think recently the House of Reps doled out about 100 million. And now it is expected that each player gold medal is $5,000, silver 3,000, and bronze I think it's 2,000. So for me, I don't allow that type of motivation to divide the team. If I was in that official, I would have said that we should downplay the issue of money, because I think it can divide and the team spirit will not be there. All said and done, it has been earmarked, but then we just have to do that, and we expect the best from them. I am very certain that they should be able to do something.
Then, what kind of man is the sport minister, John Ennon? This is the first time we're having a sport minister since demarcation, since separation of the sport ministry with the youth ministry. It was the Ministry of Youth and Sport. Now, the Minister of Sports Development. What kind of man is he?
The present sport minister is a man manager, and he played the role of a father figure. If you have been in the team or with them, you understand that he has played that role. I think that is the difference. That's the difference between the various ministers we had. He has been very proactive. He has his own plans. He came in in terms of development. That is why there's no scandal of any sort, even the kids and the rest, no scandal. So Mr. Sunday Dare and Dalong, they played their role at the various capacity within that time. So we cannot have every season there's a different perspective. The season and the time change from different perspective. So now it's a continuum. You use it to correct, to avoid the lapses that happened ahead before taking over. So the current sport minister for me is an astute administrator, and he's proactive. He has the listening ears from those that matter in the power, and he gets his thing done. For now, there's not been any huge scandal or whatever we can think of. So let's do with him. Let's support him, because he's giving us, he has been with the players. We even saw in Abidjan when we were in Cote d'Ivoire for AFCON, where prior to that, he came in, let's do it again. Even some of us were even wondering, what are we going to do with the Super Eagles? But at the end of the day, we came in second. And that was a very beautiful golden silver after a very long time. So we saw that also in Ghana, African Games. We saw how he was also even dining, eating with the athletes. So he was always in all events that Nigeria participated. He was like a father figure. So that in link, and all the athletes are giving all their allowances. There's never any case of somebody will tell you that, oh, I'm being this is not it's not there. The arrangement has been top notch. So we should give it to him. When somebody does good, he may not be the best, but then at this moment, we just have to support him and let him move on the way it is. So there's no scandal. I know that we press guys, we always look for the negative, but then there's no negative. No news is bad news, but the news so far is good news. So let's see what Paris will have for us. We saw in Accra, we saw in Douala what happened. So we should be able to give him that support.
And still on the spot, Mr. What has he achieved?
Well, for me, I'm not going to blow his trumpet. No, it's a continuum. It's work in progress. It's just 1 year that I've been there, and he came in with a CWES plan. He has his 6-point agenda. We call it CWES. So if you have been able to do that in that way within that period from then to now, you should be able to now understand that, yes, he has done well. If you want to use that benchmark as at that period. So it's like I say, it's a continuum. And I agree. He moved his office to MK Abiola Stadium for easy accessibility. And now you can see that edifice, they are taking care of it. There some may be work in progress like the National Stadium. There are other things that involve and the rest trying to do things done. I feel that at this point in time, we should be able to say, fine, you have done well, but in this area, you need to improve. Except you have other things you want him to improve upon, which you can outline. So let's look at it.
Thank you. And we now go to one topic that a lot of people are really not the one we really talk about, but I trust you that you probably give us your own opinion on WADA, the anti-doping agency, World Anti-Doping Agency, 3 weeks ago or thereabouts. There was, we were skeptical that perhaps we might be not fly the green, white, green color in Paris, but whatever decision has been postponed. So, but tell us the latest update. And should Nigerians be happy that this is is this one of the best Olympics so far?
There's still that need for us to put some of these institutions, some of these needed requirements in place so that we can avoid the subsequent. You can escape one, may not escape two, because you have to put your house in order. You have to put everything. So we can also advocate and indicate the athletes and say, fine, this is what we do. Now they are having data of young athletes, even from the one they got from Asaba during the youth national youth games. So you can see that this is all some of those things. If it's well annexed, we should be able to have. We are going with now even in the Olympics, we have a canoe kayak. We are going somewhere. Then if we have a one for cycling. So these are some of those things we should know. But for WADA, our athletes too need to be informed that this is society. Currently, we have almost 6 or 7 Nigerian athletes who are on that ban from various ban on as related anti-doping exercises. So these are some of these advocacy we ought to do for all our athletes, both the ones in schools and the ones who are already the elite ones. So this is the way I look at it.
Thank you very much for your time. We'll go on this quick break. And when we come back, we still have Dr. Martin Morgan. And if you're just joining us on this wonderful show, we'll be talking about the Olympics. A lot of us are optimistic. Yeah, I'm a Nigerian, so a lot of us are optimistic that Nigeria will do so well in this Olympic. And if you want to be part of the show, you can just join us on all our social media platforms, X account, Instagram, Facebook, and not forgetting Instagram. This is a moment where you can continue your conversation. You can do hashtag 360 Sport or hashtag TV360. Don't go away.
Corruption not in my country.
Hello, Alahaji. Right now I'm in Abuja. No. Hello, Adamu. Right now I'm in Kano. Yes. When I get back, I will just call you. Look, what is wrong with you? I'm talking on the phone and you are gesticulating and doing. What's wrong with you?
Daddy, where exactly are we as we speak?
Are you alright? This is Lagos.
Well, you just lied to someone that we are in Abuja.
Keep quiet. Who told you you can tell an elderly person is lying?
Daddy, you just lied. And by lying, you are raising corrupt children for the future of Nigeria. That is corruption, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the go-to app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other Paper Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Yeah, welcome back. It's been a wonderful moment, and we're speaking with Dr. Martin Morgan on the Olympics and a bit focus on Team Nigeria. He has been giving us incisive and revelating stories and in-depth analysis on Team Nigeria at the Olympics. Dr. Martin, thank you for holding on to us. Now, this is a critical question. The effect of the economic situation, the hardship in the economy, did you think it will have an effect on the level of followership and viewership of from the Nigerian perspective? I believe that there will be lesser Nigerians in terms of numbers that will be watching the Olympics because of the economic situation. Do you believe that?
Despite the country challenges, the economic challenges we are facing now, once it comes to game sports, despite that, the Nigerian people will still have time. They may not come in openly to the glaring, but they still have part of their heart tuned to them. Mostly if the Nigerian contingents are doing well, it tells you that yes, we'll come back. Because that is why I keep on saying sports as a tool, the government should be able to harness and use sports to export it to a point that we should be able to get us united. It's not all this other political and changing of national anthem and the rest. It's not what matters. What matters is we should be able to prepare our sport as a tool of unity. It is when sports is going on, mostly football. Nobody asks who scores the goal. Is it a northerner that score, a southerner that score? You just hear Nigeria has scored. It's just the same thing when you see Nigeria on the track running. You keep on shouting. Up Nigeria, go on. Nobody is asking, where is Miriam Onyali from? Where is Okabare from? Where is Amosun from? No. We just call say Nigeria. So this is the spirit I think sport is giving. If you were in AFCON, you will have seen how even Nigerians in those countries were entertaining other Nigerian visitors with their own money.
Before we round up, Dr. Martin Morgan, I'll give you a task. Yes. I'm asking, just imagine yourself in front of Nigerians and encouraging them to be part of the Olympics. Sports is a unifier when it comes to Nigerians. It has united the world. I don't want to say so much about this economy today, but I want you to encourage Nigerians to keep faith with Team Nigeria at the Paris 2024 Olympics.
Sharing Nigerian contingent in any assignment is a national assignment for everybody, as far as we're a Nigerian or African. So for me, the only thing I'm telling even you who are also on the other side of it, you have a role to play. And what is the role? Sharing them, whether it's going your way or not going your way, but just have that belief that they will do you proud. So this is what the athlete needs. If you're even playing soccer or football and you hear the crowds cheering you, you get motivated. So that is that motivation we need from everybody. As far as Paris Olympics is going to be one of the best we have. Before that, the Centenary Olympics going back to Paris within that period. And there are a lot of innovation going on in Paris. There's a lot of things people were expecting. About 15 million people, 15 million viewers expected in Paris. Even the business side of it is expected that they spend almost but we are going to rack almost $7 to $12 million. So this is where this Paris Olympics is unique. Paris is a city, a very pretty city. It's a city of love. It is where I'm sure a lot of relationship will be built. It's going to be where people will renew their relationship. So this is the spirit of the Olympics. Olympics gives you all. You need that Olympic spirit. So you have to watch, you have to participate as a Nigerian, as an African, as a human being. Participate in this Olympics with 206 countries coming in. So we should be able to understand that, yes, this is how it is. So Olympics is for all. It's not a regular game. It's the best fiesta. It's the best fiesta you have once in every 4 years. So just that that is one Olympics is and you start preparing for the next one. But in Nigeria, we are very reactive. That is another thing we have seen there. But now we should have been prepared. With this contingent we have, I believe every Nigerian should just give them that kudos, cheer them up. And let's see, no matter how that podium finish is what matters.
Thank you very much, Dr. Martin Morgan, for your time, for your dedication and your in-depth analysis on this. Thank you very much. We've been speaking with Dr. Martin Morgan. He's a popular sports commentator in Nigeria. He's a linguistic and he has done so much for the development of sport. He will probably also be joining us soonest to still talk about the Olympics. And if you're joining us for the first time, and if you are just joining us not for the first time, or you just came into watching us at this moment as we're trying to round up the program, the conversation doesn't stop. You can check us on our X account, Instagram, Facebook. These are moments where you will not forget. And you can use the hashtag 360sport. Not forgetting hashtag TV360, where we give you all the best in the world of sport. And I'm sure if you have a comment or you have anything to say about the program, or you want to talk about past sport program, you can still join. We will definitely reply your messages. And that's all we're taking for today's program. Same time next time. Same time next week. We'll be giving you all what you need to know in the world of sport. I'm yours faithfully, Mudashiru Jitsu. Bye for now.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
When you go into public office, you must be ready to answer to the people.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians are saying in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Even though it is considered that we have a so-called disability, we really are able persons with different abilities.
For society and development to be included of persons with disabilities, we need to have equal access to education and to knowledge and information. Yet, out of millions of publications each year, fewer than 5% are made available in accessible formats for visually impaired persons. In developing countries, an even smaller percentage of publications are available in accessible formats. The Marrakesh Treaty, as it is called, will greatly expand the availability of artistic and literary works in accessible forms, such as Braille, large print text, and audiobooks. This can make a real difference in the lives of the world's more than 300 million visually impaired persons.
At the end of the day, we must come together and make however and where we are in the world be a place of unification, because me being blind visually doesn't mean that I have to be blind spiritually. And someone being sighted doesn't mean that they should be blind of those things in the world that we need to fix. We have to have inclusion. Let us not become handicapped again, blind to the issues and the problems of those in need.
Right in the middle of this forest in southwest Ogun State, and inside the buildings below, a young generation of farmers in Nigeria is changing the face of farming and attracting young people to a venture many of them had not always liked. And 36-year-old Peter Okoche Jr., or PJ as he's fondly called, is leading the change. An economist by training before branching off into farming, PJ and his team are deploying a unique method of farming known as aeroponics to grow cash crops, starting out here in August of 2017.
What's taking place is that you're seeing agricultural technology. It's a disruptive form of technology. It's called aeroponics, whereby the plants are grown in a soilless medium. Essentially, there's no soil, and the roots of the plants, which are underneath these boxes, are being misted with nutrients and so forth. So everything is within a controlled environment, and it's fully automated as well.
Their focal crop is yam, a very popular edible starchy tuber mainly cultivated in Africa and exported across the world.
So the yam subsector of the overall agricultural sector, it's a very lucrative sector. But the problem is that the requisite inputs haven't been applied. And so what we're doing in this program is saying that, okay, we know that there's a sector that currently has a value, according to the Food and Agricultural Organization based in Rome, of about $13 billion US. But with the requisite inputs, the yam subsector will grow from $13 billion to about $19 billion. And this is Nigeria alone. So what we've said is that, okay, we know also that Nigeria accounts for 60% of the global production of yam, but yet we don't have inputs such as seed. And as you know, seeds, or the lab and the seed essentially is the genesis of the agricultural sector. So what we're doing is that in conjunction with IITA, we get clean seeds, essentially from IITA, from the lab, and then we come and we transplant to the system here.
The system is a greenhouse where the yam seeds are grown in this row of boxes using aeroponics, more like growing yams in the air.
Now just take a look at these leaves. Every leaf you see here is a potential tuber of yam. So to get a sense of how many tubers of yam we have here, you just have to do a count of all the leaves we have here. It's something very massive.
We have about 10 boxes, and in those boxes, all fully automated aeroponic systems, and it leads to high propagation of plants. And so we're actually massively propagating, and it will continue like this for a 3-year period of just continuous growth, non-stop. After the propagation, what you'll see is that it will essentially form a canopy. It will be very bush-like and so forth, and from there we'll start vine cutting. And from the vine cutting, we'll cut these, we'll put them into essentially polyethylene bags and with a nutrient solution, and they'll stay in there for about a month. And essentially what it is that because this is in a controlled environment, we're taking them out and saying, okay, we're preparing you for a month to get used to the external elements, and they'll be there for a month, and then we eventually take them to the field.
This is the field where they are brought and planted into the soil so the seeds could develop fully.
These right now currently have been here for about 3 weeks. And we're still planting now, and they'll be here for a total of about 3 months. And after about 3 months, we'll get seeds of about 250 to about 500 grams. And those are the seeds that we'll provide to farmers. And farmers can then go and plant directly, and it will give them the ware yam sizes of 1 kg, 2 kg and above.
One of the smallholder farmers who's been using the yam seeds from the aeroponics farm is Awofe Ademola. He's been into traditional yam farming all his adult life, and says the yam seeds from the aeroponics farm have seen his output more than double and safe from pests.
There's a lot of difference between the two methods because the new method doesn't get infected by pests, and it doesn't change color like the traditional planted yams. It will remain fresh as it is wherever it is kept. Their yam when harvested is almost 3 times or 4 times more than ours. When we plant one of our own seed yam, it equates to 4 of theirs.
Habibat Umar is the only female in the group. She's one of those overseeing the day-to-day running of the smart farm. She says she's fascinated by the whole idea of it.
One of the things that fascinates me most is the fact that we can go all year round producing food, more like you can cheat God's creation and having to depend on the rain and all. And everybody wants to eat all the time. You don't want to wait for when the rain is here. And so the fact that we can provide the food all year round, it's everything to me.
Even though all may seem fine, PJ and his team are battling familiar challenges to keep their operations running.
More attention needs to be given to the sector. There needs to be more financing put in place. We need to have adequate land laws in place and to ensure that we can optimize all the arable land that we have and so forth. There needs to be insurance. We need to have better road networks. Power is a major impediment as well. Essentially we have our own solar system, as well as the fact that we also have a generator as well for backup. So power cost is also a major impediment as well. So all of these things, if we can put all these things in place, then the sector will boom for sure.
PJ and his team are setting themselves up as role models for young people. In a country where youth unemployment is high, they are hoping to inspire many within their age bracket to take to their kind of farming technique.
We need women to even join this chain, because this is not all about, we've gone past the stage of waiting for men doing it. So why wouldn't I want to be part of it? Let people say, oh, she's a woman, she's doing it. Do you understand? So women this chain.
My message for the youth is saying that, listen, with the use of